I'm an SDG Youth and Student Network member. Besides, I also run a nonprofit organization. I fled Afghanistan after the collapse to Canada. When I was listening to the great discussion of the panelists, I'm really privileged to be here. While we celebrate the progress of education all over the world, there are still millions of girls and women in Afghanistan who are denied of education. It's been more than 2 years, and day by day, the situation is getting worse for them. And we are receiving, myself, because we were working with university students when I was in Afghanistan, and we still continue some of our activities online, but it's so hard. Like there is no alternative for education for Afghan women who already suffer a lot in the past 20 years. So my question is, I think it's everyone knows that within this 2 years, there has been no progress in terms of education for the young women in Afghanistan, but day by day, the restrictions and limitation has increased. So how we can ensure that the international community effectively support the inclusion of education for young women and girls in Afghanistan. Besides that, how we can improve the access and quality of education for Afghan women despite all the challenges that's happening on the ground in Afghanistan. Thank you.
First, thank you for that excellent question. We have been all very concerned about Afghanistan and the women and girls who've been left out of their education. It is a difficult time and has been to be able to do anything in Afghanistan as we would like to be seen happen. Nonetheless, the Global Partnership for Education, working with our partners on the ground, including UNICEF, the Aga Khan Foundation, Save the Children, and others, are continuing to work. We have $130 million in programming that has been approved and being implemented in Afghanistan. And we're continuing to work with our partners on the ground to figure out how we can move forward from here. Because in many ways, what we've been doing is a stopgap, trying to reach people in the easiest way possible. But the challenge ahead is how do we really make a difference particularly in the secondary school level, for all girls and frankly, all boys as well. The challenge with the Taliban's policies and the increasing restrictions on what can be done is something we are continually facing. So we are looking at innovative ways of doing business, how we can reach them, but ultimately it's going to have, what really is going to make a difference is a change in the policies. And so we advocate for that. We work with others who are advocating for it, and we'll welcome your thoughts on how we can do that. But we're committed to stay the course to work with Afghanistan.
I mean, not really much to add other than just to kind of compliment. It's very much a strong partnership engaging at all levels. And organizations like UNICEF, we continued in Afghanistan. We have 13 offices across the country, as you may know, about 400 staff, working to see every opportunity where there's a bit of room to enable children to continue to learn in such a challenging environment while engaging globally at all levels to enable that policy change and policy engagement that Charles was referring to.
Back to the point raised by our colleague from Afghanistan. Following the Taliban takeover in 2021, they have adopted more than 80 decrees that strip women's human rights, including stopping all projects on mental health and mental health support, particularly for women and girls. And they have been notorious in promoting gender apartheid, which is using the marginalization and discrimination against women and girls as the system of governance. Last year, there was UN Security Council report 2679 that reviewed the renewal of the mandate of the UN political mission in Afghanistan. And in response to that, an independent assessment report was produced. And the independent assessment report suggests engagement with the Taliban without accountability. And this is a very problematic proposition because it ignores international human rights laws. And what the Taliban women, Afghan women in Afghanistan and in the diaspora are demanding is that there should be no engagement with the Taliban that doesn't talk about and ask them to commit to the adherence to international human rights laws, including respect for women and girls' rights to education. And I think that's something that we all need to support. No engagement with the Taliban until you fully commit to women's rights to education and all other international human rights laws.